Okay, Matt. The fuck? I literally endorsed the fuck out of you and your team in that one video. Why have you done this? I'm sure a lot of you are confused on why I'm critiquing the finale of Amphibia after I hyped it to hell and back. I really was liking Amphibia Season 2 until the last few episodes where the show's pacing took a jump off a building. Oh my God! Never to be seen again. Plus, I want to make this video before anyone else because I want the sweet view to share my points before anyone else. It's definitely for the views.
Whoa, what?
Final arc, final episode, same thing. But yeah, my issue stretched way further than that 30-minute pile of shit. Now, put the gun down, you trigger-happy lemons. My issues actually start before Amphibia came back from. When the show was about to come back, I was excited to see the episodes dedicated to plot progression and character development. Since everyone in Waterworld had their characters expanded and established, meant that we weren't gonna have to go back to the same episodes of the citizens loafing around for no reason, right? Matt, why aren't you answering? Wait, Matt, why aren't you answering? Matt? Well, to almost no one's surprise, the show does what I like to call the star versus syndrome, where the show unnecessarily wastes times and has to rush its finale. Hey look, another reason to dislike the Owl House. I praise this show for doing what other Disney shows did better, but every time I remember saying that, I cringe because Amphibia Season 2B is repeating history for the second fucking time. Okay, before I actually talk about the episodes, I want to get one thing off my chest. Oranges, didn't you say that Amphibia was perfect in a video talking about only Season 1? Well, yes, I did, and ever since watching the end of Season 2, I've regretted it, since this crap is about to make me feel like an idiot. Wait a sec. Toe got away with this, so I'm sure they can. Oh, who am I joking? The show doesn't have any career reps for the fans to gush over. Jokes aside, this episode was getting a brainless level of hype on Twitter, and I'm not going to go as far as shitting on people for liking something, but it seems that I'm once again going to have to apply my objectively correct opinion. From an episode I actually don't remember, I'm gonna have to put that in post, I began to notice the show moving faster and faster over time. Normally, I would have just ignored it like the majority of the cartoon community ignored Amphibia because of Toe, but then there's all the brainless channels that all repeat the same thing with no actual fucking thinking to any of the things they watch. Of course I get why. The popular opinion takes way less effort and it pays the bill. Let's talk about the show! So the episode starts with no intro in order to save time, which definitely worked as those extra 30 seconds completely fixed this episode's pacing. The actual episode starts with Marcy forgetting Anne's birthday. As she's about to leave the library, she found a book that had info in the Calamity box, and of course...
Travel to other worlds? Oh, goofy stuff.
She heads home and finds out that she's moving and storms off. Something interesting about this scene is that Marcy's father is voiced by the guy from Toe.
Don't care, don't care, don't care, still don't care.
After a bit of running, she finds the Calamity box and calls Sasha. And then... Pow pow. The gang arrive in Utopia, where Graham and Sasha had to hide their faces in order to meet with the king. See, my issue with this is how they were being watched the entire time, so they should have already been captured. We get some very obvious foreshadowing about Marcy wanting to live in her isekai protagonist's life. Polly didn't wipe her ass properly, so she needs to wipe it again. Jokes aside, we all know Polly's growing legs. It's really good that this episode is foreshadowing events to come so things don't just happen for shock value. Rick goes on about how their adventures are finally done, and then says that as long as she has the music box, she can visit them anytime she... Okay, I know I just praised the show for its foreshadowing, but the show is just taking the piss of how hard they're going on this. So, oh, our adventure is almost over, isn't it? And I'm sure 90% of the viewers knew exactly what was going to happen by the end of the season. It just feels like they're wasting time to me, and we all know just how much I love when shows waste time. The gang meets with King whatever his name is, and Sasha's betrayed the gang. Wow, that was quite fast. The fight between Sasha, Graham, and the king lasts about 30 seconds. Wow, what an amazing leader being defeated in less than 30 seconds. The king was put in a jail cell and Sasha immediately goes back to the way she was before the last episode because character development is for pussies. Anne loses her shit and remember these words.
What do I say? After everything you've done? I say you're clearly insane if you think I'm gonna let you bully me and everyone else just to get what you want. No! I'm done listening to you. I'm done trusting you. You're a horrible person and I am done being friends with you.
Sasha tried to send Anne home and fails. Anne and the gang get arrested and then they are unarrested within a minute. No, I'm not taking the piss here. The gang gets suppressed and then, I shit you not lads, Anne gives everyone a pep talk and they all get motivated to fight again. See, here's my issue of the scene. What was the point of them immediately getting over it? It just wastes time, and we know how much I love when shows waste time! To make an extremely short story even shorter, they stop all the toads within a minute and a half. Sasha reflects on what Anne said and in an effort to cheer her up, Graham ends up finding out about the king's plan. So my question here is, why did the king decide to put this picture in a place that could easily be found out? So what would happen if his plans were just discovered by a random trespasser? Would he have just, failed? There are a lot of coincidences shown in this episode, and this is the one that makes absolutely no sense to me. Anne, Sprig, Graham, and Sasha fight. Sasha tries to convince Anne but flops miserably and loses their second duel. Whoa. Hang on a second. That fight lasted like 30 fucking seconds. How did Sasha even lose? Anne has only held a sword like 4 times while Sasha's been training for months. How did she... Oh, and Sprig fights Graham in the middle of it. So the last 5 minutes of this episode were completely meaningless since everything has returned to the way it was, except from Graham and Sasha are now apprehended. The king gives us some lore, and then I question if Dana Terrace Shadow wrote this script, because I remember Toe getting a very similar scene in its last episode. The king then uses the music blocks to make the castle flow and reactivate the robots we saw in another episode from season 2. So we understand that the king wants to invade Earth, and I have one little question. In one of season 1's episodes, we find out that frogs have a different level of tolerance to the weather and need a pretty humid atmosphere to not be cold. Here's the thing about Earth. It's not Amphibia, nor Utopia, whatever the place is called, I actually don't remember. So using the show's own logic, the king just defeated himself. The king destroys Toad Tower to demonstrate his power, and just as everyone's about to get ready to fight, Marcy gets involved.
Andrews, this wasn't the plan. You said no one would get hurt.
I would have said anything if it meant you deliver the box to me fully charged. Hate to break it to you, kiddo, but you've been duped.
So Marcy has been in cahoots with the king the entire time and has planned an adventure with Anne and Sasha forever. Yeah, I'm gonna start using that now. Within 30 seconds, they managed to turn Marcy into the worst girl since she was completely okay with keeping Anne and Sasha to herself and away from their families. To give Marcy some credit, Sasha didn't want to go back, but Anne clearly did. And for her to actually think this was a good idea was extremely fucked up. Too bad the show completely glosses over it, so the impact of the reveal has been completely wasted. We love to see it! If it sounds like I'm going a bit fast, that's because I'm trying to summarize an already fast-paced episode without giving you all whiplash. Marcy did all of this because she didn't want to be alone, and I've got to ask, do phones not exist in this show? I know they weren't able to see each other physically as often as they did, but they can just meet up on holidays to make up for that, right? And dismisses all the fucked up crap Sasha and Marcy have done as mistakes. Yeah, no. This one is a serial killer in the making, and this one is a literal fucking supervillain. I'm actually curious on how the show is going to redeem these two, or will they just go down to, they have done nothing wrong, they don't need to be redeemed route, which never goes well. The gang starts a fight scene where they get absolutely curb stomped by the king in one attack. Polly also grew legs, this will be important. I know this one's supposed to be a funny joke, but look at this.
Oh, look at that! One of my robots must be defective.
Tell me that wasn't absolutely fucking hilarious. What makes it even funny is that they completely gloss over the fact that someone just died as Polly had to grow legs in the next scene. Polly with her first time on legs managed to dodge lasers and killer roadblocks. Which no, a few buckles isn't enough to make me think this isn't bullshit. I mean, have you seen a newborn walk? The king throws Sprig out a window and then something even funnier happens after that.
Give him...
So Aang goes fucking Super Saiyan Blue and beats the shit out of the king. When I first watched this, I started crying of how funny it was. Marcy then managed to open a portal back to Earth and... Yeah, I'm sure they wanted to make this scene impactful, but I can only think they did this for shock value since Marcy will definitely return in season 3. The gang wakes up back in Earth and the season ends. I don't think I've ever been so disappointed by a season's finale since Star Vs. or Steven Universe. Toe wasn't on that list because I already thought the show was us, but I genuinely don't know who to blame here. Was it Matt? Or Disney? Because whoever decided to condense this episode into a 30-minute pile of shredded dog waste clearly lost their minds. Why not make this a 2-parter? Was the episode of Marcy and that emo frog really necessary? Why not scrap the episode and then have a 2-parter so things can actually have time to fucking breathe? Anne and Sasha's rematch was completely ruined because they had to fit that cliffhanger for the finale. Polly growing legs was completely ruined because they had to fit that cliffhanger in the fucking finale. Everything was ruined because they had to hit that cliffhanger in the finale. And what makes it 10 times worse is the fact that the writers threw in Marcy's death just for shock value to make the season just a little bit more memorable. But for me, the show will be memorable for another reason. It shows the lack of quality control at Disney. Amphibia season 2 as a whole was underwhelming, but this fucking episode almost killed any hope of me watching the next season. If they kept the gang in Waltwood, I would have completely dropped the show so hard they would have probably deemed it as child abuse, because the writers have clearly fallen into a formula. Whenever they want to waste time, add unnecessary filler, which wasn't a problem in season 1 as it would have been annoying if they didn't flesh out their characters. But did we really need 11 minutes dedicated to finding out that this person was good at karate in season 2? About 4 episodes before the finale? Was that really necessary, Matt? I can practically confirm that they'll drop more filler in season 3, but at least that makes sense. People want to see how the frogs react to Earth things. But fine, I'll wait till season 3 comes out before I make any more Amphibia videos, probably. I just pray that they don't fuck it up like they did with this one. But seeing Disney's track record, I doubt it.